outlook for the following 24 hours. South, becoming cyclonic, 5 or 6. Increasing 7 or gale 8 for a time in far south.
Why did I have this yearn for adventure?
Becoming westerly.
I came to the conclusion that really it was the challenge element that was always the attraction for me. I've always had the opportunity, which is marvellous, to undertake all sorts of adventures. And I thank God for it. And it is heavily ingrained into my psyche now.
Well, what I want to know is our people who are wanting to know if they can be received.
There aren't anybody else coming.
Well, you don't know yet because they haven't come.
No, but we do know that actually nobody is going to be coming.
So who is that?
Just you and me.
Nobody from...
No, nobody else. So you want the knives and forks and things from here?
I'll get them in a minute.
Right. I can't really remember how I became aware of it, but we saw the consultant and he confirmed that Kate has Alzheimer's. It looks to me to be pretty dead.
Well, the other one certainly looks okay.
But they've both had it. They're both too old now. Compared with a lot of other people, don't have to do a lot because she can maintain herself to a certain extent. But, for instance, I do now cook the evening meal for both of us. In a sense, it's been a bit of a rude shock because for 83 years, I was cooked for rather than doing the cooking myself. Right. See whether you can manage that.
Oh my goodness, I don't think I could.
Well, give it a try. Give it a try. Okay. So, thank you, Lord, for our good food. Amen. For a long time I was puzzled by the fact, look, I'd become a reverend, and here was I running these hearty expeditions through the Northwest Passage and all the rest of it. And how did these two add up? Shouldn't I be preaching and standing up in church instead of sailing around the Arctic? But I mean, this seemed to be the way that I was being led, if you like. In all modesty, I have to say that I am probably, well, the back of my book says he is one of the most experienced Arctic sailors in the world. It's a marketing splurge, of course, but there is an element of truth in that. I am grounded at home, and I mean, just facing up to the spring and the summer without any expeditions, without being able to go away. It is a completely change of life, really. Okay. And that's why I've started to write a sequel to Addicted to Adventure. Jocularly, I say I just write about it and talk about it now. In a sense, you're reliving adventure to a certain extent in this way. But don't let the yellow go overboard. Don't let that yellow tank go overboard. It's a big one. It's quite heavy. Oh, look at that.
Oh, wait. You have to... Because
Careful.
like it's only hooked on the
I know.
side. So.
Nice catch, Bob!
I've got a fish! I've got a fish! Well, I've been up to Greenland and so forth 13 times or something, across the Atlantic 15 and round the world, of course. What's that caught up with? Last summer, I had to say no to 2 very attractive expeditions to Iceland, across to Greenland, and then across to Labrador and Newfoundland and so forth. And, I would have loved to have gone. But now the Alzheimer's has advanced a bit and has become more serious. We had reached a stage there where I could not be away for 2, 3, 4 months or so. The other side of the coin is it is payback time, because for many, many years, really, my wife never said no to me going away on all these expeditions, and people have been amazed, really, that I have been able to and have been allowed, if you like, let free to go away all this time for long periods of time. I grew up in Malaya, in fact, or Malaysia as it would be called today. My father was the manager of a rubber plantation. I do remember playing with him up in the upstairs room in our house. Apparently it always ended with me in tears, so he stopped doing that after a while. Oh, and I do have a vivid memory of approaching the factory on the rubber plantation, and there in the road was a big black cobra, and in my innocence I was just about to poke this cobra to see what would happen. My Malayan armour, who looked after me, rushed out, "No, Sahib, no, you must not do that." So I was saved from death at a very early age, I think. For our education, my sister and I were sent to Australia, and it was at that stage that the Japanese invaded.
As America mobilized, the Japanese tides swept over the western Pacific Islands, engulfed Burma and the Malay states, and drove Britain from her vital naval stronghold of Singapore.
My father and his assistant had gone into the little factory on the rubber plantation. The Japanese arrived, and they had no use for prisoners or anything. So they took them out into the woods and shot them both. And in that sense, people being brought up and leading a normal existence are more settled. Is definitely perhaps left me with some character deficiencies. The fact that I didn't have a father, and the fact that we were dotting all around the place, even around the world, if you like. This is all part of the new look. Garden before was pretty neglected. I was concentrating on the expeditions, of course. Ah, well, it works. Just a bit frightened of cutting the cable. I can't say no that I really enjoy doing it. It's more that it's got to be done. Careful.
Lots of memories.
Do you remember they're making an arch of ice axes when we came out of the church?
I don't remember. I never was at it even.
So I married a shadow, did I? We actually went skiing on our honeymoon. Kate hadn't done very much and kept falling over, and the instructor kept saying, "Why do you fall over? I did not tell you to fall over." So after 2 days she got thoroughly fed up with it and packed it in. Didn't go skiing again. I had been warned about this woman, mind you, that she was spoke her mind and would stand no nonsense and would keep me in order and all the rest of it. There's me trying to look smooth.
Didn't work, did it?
That's a classic Kate, isn't it?
That's Sister Rob.
That's you. You were Rob
think
before
so?
you married me. District nurse and midwife.
Mad wife.
Midwife.
Sometimes it's
right,
called.
yes.
But anyway, I finished work now. Finished in the nursing
Yes.
this last week.
Just last week?
Yeah.
All right. In a sense, we've always lived separate lives. I mean, she had her nursing and I had my expeditions and activities and all the rest of it. Our lives were not interdependent in that sense, except for the family. Some people think that's very strange, but it has worked perfectly well, really. We're living our own lives, but we meet up at home and with the family and that sort of thing. And that's just worked out. We are both very strong-willed, independent people. So if we were trying to do the same thing all the time, I think we'd probably been fighting, you know. Sooner or later, it's going to become necessary for her to go into a home. It does mean that things are going to be pretty tight financially. I'm not quite sure how we would manage that, actually. Things have never been flush, no. I think it is to do with my lifestyle. And of course, at the time we were younger and retirement and old age seemed a long way off. So this didn't seem to be very important. But we made things fairly tight for ourselves. I'm not sure really that we can cope. And I'm now selling the boat. I'm trying to get this bigger boy off the line in the system, so when we come to finalise the mooring we can reuse it. Success! I came to sailing quite late in life, but when you view it from my age, even coming to sailing quite late is quite a long time ago. Amazingly, Cape supported all these mad ideas and mad schemes. She was for buying the boat so that we could go off sailing as a family, even though it meant liquidating a large amount of the money that we'd got. And we had bought a boat that big because it had sufficient accommodation for our very large family. By that time there were 7 of us. But gradually the kids found other interests as well, and Kate discovered that she did get very seasick, and it put her off really. So I gradually used it more and more. When I retired, I took some lads who'd sailed with me, and we sailed around the world and all the rest of it. Most of my sailing has been concerned with expeditions with a definite aim and long periods of time away.
Am I too close here?
No, I don't think there is a shell.
Bang.
Well, why do I do this, you know? And I came to the conclusion that really it was the challenge element that was always the attraction for me. There is a marvelous verse in Psalm 21, I think, where David is talking to God and says, "Through the victories you gave, my glory is great." So I do thank God that he prospered and protected for these victories, if you like. I do feel a bit guilty that he had to step in and protect it quite so often. Tell me when you reckon it's about high enough. Okay. I have coined a saying, to keep going, you have to keep going. And I think that is part of it, that you must remain active or you just begin to atrophy, or whatever the word is. I do wonder what I will do not having a boat. I mean, it has been a big part of my life. I will miss the boat, that's for sure. I am ready in some ways to slow down a bit, but in other ways, when you think, well, am I going to be stuck here at home all the time and never going to be able to get out on adventures again, that's a bit of a disturbing thought, really. There must be more to life than stacking the dishwasher every day, you know. It's been obvious that Kate has deteriorated quite a lot. Yesterday she wandered out onto the road. I was at the back of the house, so it was a bit of a dangerous situation, really. It was obvious that she needed to go into a home. It's called a respite. She's going on Monday for a week. Part of it is I'd like to see how she actually reacts to this and whether it works, and it could be seen as a trial run for the future. And of course you have to sell this, so we're telling her that she's going to a very swanky hotel and she'll be well looked after and all the rest of it. I thought it would be a bad idea if I took her, because she might get there and then refuse to get out and go to the care home. So We have arranged transport for her to be driven down to Dunoon. She's gone to home quite a long way away. I thought I would be very relieved, but actually I found that I quite missed her. And it may well be that Kate has to go into a home on a permanent basis fairly soon. And I could see that this would take some getting used to, really. It's very, very pleasant to have the break, the respite as they call it. Yes, it is. It always feels good to be out again, even in these conditions. Sailing about, feeling the boat respond. It would be nice to have the breeze without the rain, perhaps. But on the other hand, it does add a touch of challenge to it. The boat not being there, my not being able just to go off sailing when I want to, as it were, it is going to leave a gap. I don't think I ever realised what a cost it was to Kate. I don't think I really appreciated what I was putting her through. There was the family and there was the job, but all the same, it must have been a bit of a lonely existence. Definitely a new appreciation of what it might have been like. I've never asked her, and I don't think I'm going to ask her, in case she hated it and never told me. Soaked? Right, good. I better do a few bits of carrot. My crews rather dreaded the day when I was on cooking. For blood pressure, perindopril, and to keep the blood flowing a little bit more thinly, rivaroxaban, prostate finasteride, and this difficult one to pronounce, tamucilocin hydrochloride, Beta-Lite, cell regen for keeping your joints working well, essential support to boost the immune system. That's the pills, which some people take even more, but they have mounted up over the years. I've been surprised that people have expected me not to do things and to be my age, if you like. People do not expect you over 80 to be sailing and doing these sort of things. I think they expect you sitting by the fire and then watching the telly all the time. I would just contend that that's not right. It annoys me. Okay, I know, I shouldn't be doing this, yeah. Talking to myself mainly. Well, I suppose I was talking to the boat there, really. I don't expect it to answer me back. Well, of course it does in some ways, when you get something wrong. You're concentrating completely on what you're doing, sailing the boat. So it is in that sense quite therapeutic, really, because you are shutting off from everything else. My faith has been a key point in this, really. All these things that you're doing are part of God's creation and therefore do have as much value, if you like, as standing up and preaching. There is a verse which says, whatever you do in word and deed, do all to the glory of God. The fact that a vicar is able to go off and be an Arctic explorer, I hope is to God's glory, and that has been the root of the whole thing, really. I really think that is the way I was led. I didn't deliberately set out to do that. It just happens to be the way things have turned out. I'm grateful to my wife, who in all these years when I've been going away on these expeditions have never said, no, you can't go. But in some instances, I wish I had done it differently.